Simon, now you've had a bit of time to assess and look back. What's the feeling about Friday and where you are now?
Yeah, the frustration is still there, obviously, but we've got another game to think about, and we put the Ospreys to bed for a while. We've got about 92 days before we play them again, so we'll pick that up in a couple of months. Yeah. So no, listen, we clearly weren't good enough on Friday night, and the players have all accepted that, and we've got a chance to move on. The great thing about this game and the league is that within 6 or 7 days you've got a chance to put some of those wrongs right. So that's what we're focusing on now in our preparation for Treviso.
You may know more about this, but apparently Derek Bevan said about the Andy Fenby incident that if he'd been asked, he would have said penalty try. Is that something that maybe people should be looking at? And actually,
yeah, I mean, it's a clear and obvious talking point, and it's a valid one as well. We're led to believe that he actually he could have intervened there, but there needs to be some clarity around what he can and can't say to the match official. And he felt like he couldn't unless he was asked a certain question in a certain way. Well, that's pretty vague for me. So, it's disappointing, but yes, it might have changed what was happening at the time. Obviously, it would be a bit of a swing in the game if we scored there, and potentially there was a sin binning, or Stowers was reprimanded for that at the time, but it didn't happen, and we've got to deal with that. We can't really. Hopefully, if it happens in the future, they can rectify it from that decision.
But it's almost more, if you'd come out on Friday night and complain about it, it could have been sour grapes. Now, a few days afterwards, it's almost just looking at the incident, obviously, the disciplinary going on.
Yeah, we can't change
it. Is it just
that.
something that exactly, you can't change it, but is it something you'd like to see, a clear, the law change in terms of what TMOs are meant to be able to do, a sort of clear directive so you know where you stand, TMOs know where they stand, and actually that's a positive thing the league could do out of that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think maybe it wouldn't go as far as what the English Premiership are doing, and you can go back 10 phases to see whether there was a forward pass. I'm not quite convinced whether that's adding to the game and it can affect the fluidity of the match. But certainly in the act of scoring, there has to be some way of the ref can't see everything, the touchers can't see everything, and there has to be some way of somebody looking from afar where he has the opportunity to replay footage to be able to intervene and comment. And there's so much at stake these days that those incidents can be the difference between winning and losing. If anything comes out of this, it should be that we can get clarity on that moving forward.
Treviso are going to watch the tape from Friday, and they're going to do their level best to exploit fairly obvious areas, and they're well equipped to do it.
What areas are those? What areas are they?
Well, what they're going to be like at home. They're going to attack you in the scrum.
Yeah.
They're going to drive the line outs.
Well, they've scored 4 tries this season, 2 from line-out drives and 2 scrum, 8 pickups. So they do play a slightly different game away from home, and they picked a slightly different team in their away games, their home game. So we've seen a bit of variation in their selection, but playing them at home, they have the ability to confront you with the forwards, and I think we would be to a man disappointed with the way we dealt with the Ospreys, and they'll probably look at that and see there's a bit of a chink in our armour there. So something that we've been focusing on quite heavily this week in training and in preparation for Saturday.
Don't know with their team either, but they do a bit of a monster at number 8 who seems to like to exploit those situations.
Yeah, if they get a head up, then he's pretty more often than not he likes to get off the base and try and get into the 10 channel. So yeah, we've got a plan. We've been working particularly hard. Danny has with the forwards in terms of rectifying some of the mistakes we made against the Ospreys, and hopefully we've seen the errors that we put in, and we can turn that around this week against Treviso.
You made a tactical change at the tight end half time. Give us an assessment of where you are with your tight heads and Samson was maybe a bit unlucky, I think, with the sin bin in and
I think so.
Assessing,
I mean,
assessing where he is as well.
Yeah, you know, he looks. He doesn't look much in terms. You know, he's short, but he's very stocky. He's very, very strong. He's an awkward. You know, you can get some titans who might be 6'3", and they pose certain props. Lou says different issues, whereas a smaller, squatted player who's just as good technically can obviously cause different players' problems. So Samson is a different type of player to Deacon. He gets into different positions, and we just felt that on the weekend Deacon was under a bit of pressure from Duncan, and that change came. And a bit unfortunate really that Samson got sinned in, because I think the indication came from the referee that actually it was a persistent offence by the Titan. Well, Samson wasn't on in the first half, so he couldn't have done too much wrong. But, you know, Samson has come on leaps and bounds. We worked with Danny in the World Cup. Deacon, to his own admission, was frustrated the way he played and disappointed in his own performance. But we've only got 4 or 5 fit and available props at the moment, so we have to keep working with what we've got, and hopefully within the next month we'll have a bit of reinforcements from Jacoby coming in. Rob Evans will be fit hopefully in November, and then Rodri early December. So you can only work with what you got, and hopefully we can improve what we've got.
Do you give Samson a first start this weekend?
We may do. Yeah, you know, he deserves that. He did start in Connacht as well.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, he's certainly, you know, in terms of the scrum, he's done everything we've asked of him, really.
Okay. Joe Simon's arrived. Simon, what's the plan with him?
We need to get him up to speed. Conditioning wise, he's when he decided to leave the Kings, they weren't prepared for him to train with them, so he's right. And there was a few issues over his visa, so he's had 5 weeks of just training on his own, right, and not with a team. So he's probably a week away, if you include this week, from playing. So he needs some conditioning. He needs to get into the swing of things in terms of the line-out calling, which has gone well this morning. But yeah, he's probably a week from going into full training, and then with the option then to play him possibly against the Dragons, depending on how he reacts to training over the next week to 10 days.
Don't give him a run out for one of the semi-pro teams, right?
Yeah, that could be an option. Yeah,
this weekend, possibly.
Not this weekend. No, he won't feature this weekend. We've got to make sure that we're happy with certain things. Fitness-wise, his body's fine, but we need to get him to a level where we're comfortable that when he goes out, he's not going to break down for any reason. So.
And have you any communication from Argentina in terms of Thomas?
We have. We've made contact yesterday. We haven't heard back yet, but
okay.
You know, it would be nice if he's not involved in this weekend's championship game. There's no injuries on their side. Then if we could get him in next week, then that would be great. You know, then it'll be 10 days before Claremont rather than 3 or 4 days before Claremont. So that is an issue. Definitely, that is something that we're pursuing, and hopefully we can resolve that over the next couple of days.
So it'll be part obviously of your hanging cup squad.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Would Stoddard back in full training?
He was, but he injured his back in the gym the other day. Nothing to do with his legs. So he's fine. He will. He's taking part in training on Thursday with a view to being available full training and selection next week. So it's be a great.
It's a long road to sign.
Yeah. Geez, it'll be August last year, wasn't it? So it's been a while.
You mentioned Jordan earlier. How excited are you about his progress? Because obviously that try he took in Connacht especially, with a lot of people standing for two.
Yeah, I mean he's impressed us all, and I think that was always our intention to involve him this year. I went to watch him play against Bedouins. He played at 10 on the weekend, and he had some lovely touches. So you know, he is still developing, but he showed in Connacht in a pretty tricky conditions and situation that we were in at half time that he can come and do some things that not many players can do. So we've been really pleased with him. His attitude's been excellent. He's still a young boy though, so we've got to manage him, and but I'm a big believer if you're good enough, you're old enough, we'll make that judgment this week in terms of getting him game time with us, or or he stays with semi-pro. We haven't made that decision.
You swapped and changed quite a bit over the past few weeks. Obviously, Europe's coming closer. Does that change now, or do you still look at the step?
Yeah, we're trying to kind of play selection, so we're giving players a little bit of time to gain some form. You can't pick on form if your players haven't had opportunities. Now, I haven't given everyone opportunities, and I'm fully aware of that. There's certain players that have been really unlucky and haven't had much game time with us. They've had to play semi-pro rugby, and we're all trying our best to give as many players opportunities as we can, but it comes a point when you've got to try and be a bit more consistent in selection, especially going into Europe. So this week there'll be a few changes, and then we'll look to try and settle on a team for Dragons and then the 2 European games.
Someone like Jordan, do you feel he's almost better off playing outside half for athlete than he is being on the bench with you?
At this age, rugby's important, but it's also important for us that if he comes on the bench, if he's not starting, he's on the bench, then he can cover not just 15, he might be able to cover wing, which he played for Thanethi at the end of last season, or he can cover 10 as well. So if we can improve those areas, then he'll be a great option if he's not starting to be on the bench, because he can cover so many positions comfortably. So I think that's really important as well, is that we've got someone of real ability to play not just one position but probably 3 positions comfortably if we can keep improving his levels, especially at 10 with Thanethi. They've also got Owen Williams there as well, who's going pretty well, so we've got a bit of depth there, which is good.
Suppose you look at the table though, he's still top. That's consolation.
Not much consolation. I think Phil Steele said to me, well, you've been part of a good game, so you must be pleased with that. So yeah, not much consolation at this stage after the game. No, it's done now. Just have to make sure we learn from that and improve on what we didn't do on the weekend.
As a coach after that match, what was that? How hard was that to take? Well, that 24 hours after.
Yeah, it is hard, but I've been a player, I've been a coach, assistant and head coach now in that position, and it's, you can get down about it, you can beat yourself up about things, you can blame different things, but at the end of the day you've got to look at the positives. That we're 3 from 4 at this stage. Someone had said that beginning of the season we would have taken that. Some of the rugby we played has been good. We weren't allowed to do that on Friday night, and that's all credit to the Ospreys not allowing us to do that. So we won't make that mistake again, because sides will probably look at that game and think, right, this is how you beat Thanethi and stop the Scarlets from playing rugby. So the supporters deserved a bit more from our performance, and it was a shame that we didn't give them a little bit more to shout about. But hopefully there'll be a truckload of them going up to the Liberty in a couple of months' time, and we can give them something to cheer about on Boxing Day.